Only a few days prior to our first scheduled concert, Kevin brought his friend Bart to one of our rehearsals. The two of them had been performing together for a short time, both singing and playing acoustic guitar. Bart took the lead at that point, Kevin content to play the role that would define their professional relationship in the decades to follow. "I can't tell you how excited I am listening to what you're doing here," Bart began. "I'm sure not a jazz singer, and I can't even say I ever sang with a group before, but I would love the chance to perform with Kevin during your concert. I know it might not be something you'd consider since we don't play jazz, but we'd sure appreciate the chance to play together for our friends and family." "What kind of music do you guys play?" "Well, I guess you'd call it acoustic folk rock, like Crosby, Stills, and Nash." "Can I hear some of your stuff?" "I thought you'd never ask," Bart answered, lifting his guitar from its case as Kevin did the same. I was immediately mesmerized by these two young kids, wondering yet again how I was so fortunate to attract so many talented students to my doorstep. It would take me many years to realize that the reason was quite simple. They saw my enthusiasm for what they were doing, and I shared their passion for performance. Indeed, my desire to perform with them, despite being their designated teacher, demonstrated not only my trust in their abilities, but my respect for them as musicians. Teacher and student are really interchangeable titles, meaningless in the scope of musical performance. As I've said many times, I've learned more from my students than they ever learned from me. They know it too. Not only because I've admitted it to them, but because they understand this is the true nature of things. We learn in many ways, not the least of which is teaching, which I call sharing. "We'll work you into the program," I promised. "Can you come up with a 20-minute set?" "You got it," they chimed in unison, obviously thrilled with the opportunity to do what gave so much meaning to their young lives. As usual, a planned 45-minute show was quickly turning into a multi-act concert that would end up as a 2-hour premiere performance. And why not? When you've got kids so eager to shine with the talent to match, I say go for it. So at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon at the end of October, the New Jazz Ensemble presented its first concert. Our New York Bistro was filled to capacity with students, teachers, faculty members, and administrators, including the college president in the front row. As usual, I couldn't resist adding my flugelhorn and modest piano talents to those of the students. I have no doubt this is what bound us together not only as teacher-student, but as performers in pursuit of musical joy. The jazz ensemble kicked it off in style with Betsy singing Summertime, followed by a series of my original charts composed specifically for the unique instrumentation of this group. After a 5-minute break to catch our breath, Bart and Kevin presented the most professional 20-minute set you could have imagined, the audience demanding and receiving several encore numbers. Another 5-minute break led to a series of band within a band performances featuring interesting combinations of players who had rehearsed their own arrangements. Alas, the jazz ensemble reassembled to wrap up the show, and 2 hours seemed like 2 minutes. A rousing standing ovation was eagerly offered and gratefully accepted with bows. It just doesn't get any better than this. At the end of the show, the college president walked over to congratulate me and every student in the ensemble. "Jeff, you've got some amazing talent here," he said in disbelief. "It's absolutely incredible what you've all been able to accomplish in such a short period of time, all in the first year of a new music program. You should be very proud. The only problem is, what can you possibly do for an encore? This will be a tough act to follow." Frank was next in line, his face beaming with pride. "I knew you were going to be good, Resnick, but this was way beyond my wildest expectations. It sure was worth it." The college dean was nowhere to be seen. Not to worry, he wouldn't take over the college presidency for another year. I got a phone call at the college the next week from a man who had opened a restaurant next to a waterfall on a hilly spot of land about 15 miles from the college. He had heard about the new music program and the first performance and wondered if I could recommend a student to play live music at his new club. "What kind of music are you looking for?" "I was thinking of folk music. It would be great if I could draw the college crowd out here. We have great food, but we need to get the word out." Visiting his restaurant the next day, I was pleasantly surprised to find a large log cabin, complete with oversized wood-burning fireplace and a stage in the corner. He offered me lunch to sample the menu, which I accepted gratefully. The food was quite good, and the ambiance made you feel like staying a while to relax and enjoy the beautiful view of the woods and cascading waterfall right outside. "I think I've got the perfect act for you. A couple of guys who sing and perform as a duo on acoustic guitars. Frankly, they're great at what they do, and I have no doubt they could help you build a regular audience." "How much do they charge?" "Oh, that would be between you and them, but I suspect they'd be willing to work something out with you that would be attractive. They're young, but these kids are top-notch talent. I believe they would pack your place every night. If I were you, I'd give them a try before someone else beats you to it." "What's your cut as their manager?" No, I'm not their manager. I'm just their teacher. If I can help them get some more experience performing and help them put some money in their pockets, I'm happy for both of you. Besides, lunch was good, and I might just come back for more another time." A few days later, Bart and Kevin visited my office, all excited about the gig they had just lined up at the new Falcon Crest Inn. They were booked 2 nights every week, this being their first paying gig, and they thanked me profusely for the reference. For the first few weeks of their gig, I showed up every night and sat in during the last set of the night, playing soprano and alto recorders to augment their acoustic guitar and vocal arrangements. It was indeed great practice for me, and fun for them, I hope, to share their stage with me. And if I do say so myself, we 3 sounded pretty darn good together. So much so that I hated leaving the stage at the end of each evening. Bart and Kevin ended up playing at the inn for several years, building up a following for themselves and a clientele for the restaurant owner. A real win-win situation like that is tough to beat. As for me, my growing experience and chops on the recorders would pay big dividends down the road as I began conceptualizing a big-picture performance for the jazz ensemble at its upcoming spring concert, no doubt inspired by the David Amram performance I had experienced earlier. I was determined to work the recorder into our performance as a featured solo instrument and began the grueling process of composing and arranging all the music for the show. As it turned out, the first half of the concert ended up being a 30-minute composition, constructed much like the movements of a symphony. For the second half, I reverted to the more traditional format of original jazz charts, preceded, of course, by a half-hour set by Kevin and Bart. Over the years that followed, their recordings have gained national recognition from the American Library Association. They've also recorded original programs of children's music, delivering educational concert workshops that have inspired tens of thousands of elementary school students. They scored 2 PBS documentaries and were guest soloists with the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention their performance in dozens of musical advertising jingles for clients nationwide on behalf of my own ad agency.